You know that feeling when the day is over, the world is quiet, but your mind is louder than ever. You're lying there, staring at the ceiling. Your body is tired, but your thoughts are sprinting. You replay the breakup, the message they never answered, the way someone disrespected you in front of others, the opportunity you didn't take because fear whispered, "You're not ready." And your mind doesn't just show you what happened. It twists it. It exaggerates it. It turns a single moment into a story. I'm not enough. They don't care about me. I always mess things up. You feel it in your chest, the tightness, the heaviness, that invisible pressure that follows you into the next day like a shadow. But Epictetus is pointing at something most people never see. It's not the event that's breaking you. It's the meaning your mind attaches to it. You didn't just get rejected, you turned it into a verdict on your worth. You didn't just get criticized, you turned it into proof that you're a failure. You didn't just have a slow season in life. You turned it into a prediction that nothing will ever work out. That's the hidden problem. You don't live in reality. You live in the story your mind tells about reality. And because no one taught you how to question that story, you've been dragged around by it for years. That's where Stoicism steps in like a clear, grounded voice in the middle of the noise. Stoicism doesn't promise you a life without pain, loss, or disrespect. It promises you something more powerful: the ability to stay steady inside, no matter what happens outside. Right now, you might see yourself as an overthinker, as someone broken, anxious, too soft, too sensitive, too stuck in your head. But underneath that chaos, there is another version of you, a mind that is calm, not because life is easy, but because you've learned how to rule your interpretations. In this video, you're going to discover 7 brutal Stoic laws that will start killing your negative thinking at the root and rewiring your mind. These laws aren't spiritual fluff or motivational sugar. They come from men who faced exile, violence, betrayal, and chaos, and still found peace. Marcus Aurelius, writing in the middle of war. Seneca, staying composed under a murderous emperor. Epictetus, finding freedom while still in chains. They faced storms on the outside, but they refused to let their minds become storms on the inside. You're about to learn how to stop believing every thought, how to challenge the inner voice that always predicts the worst, how to build a mindset that doesn't crumble when someone pulls away, talks down to you, or when life doesn't go your way. If you're tired of waking up already mentally exhausted, hit like and subscribe so you stay connected to this work. You're not just consuming content, you're rebuilding the way you think. Comment this right now as a declaration. My thoughts do not control me. I control my mind. Because that's the shift you're stepping into. From a mind that reacts to a mind that observes, chooses, and stays calm. In the next part, we'll dive into the first brutal Stoic law. A law that exposes why your mind feels like an enemy and how to quietly turn it into your greatest ally. In the first part, you saw the trap. It's not just what happens to you that's hurting you. It's the story your mind builds around it. Now it's time to start breaking that story. Not gently, brutally, with clear laws that don't bend to your feelings. The first brutal Stoic law is this: the law of inner authority. Most of your life, you've treated your thoughts like commands. A thought appears. She doesn't care about you. You obey. You chase. You over-explain. You spiral. A thought appears. They think you're a joke at work. You shrink, you stop speaking up, you play small. A thought appears. What's the point? You'll fail anyway. You procrastinate, not because you're lazy, but because you believe that voice. The law of inner authority says, a thought is not a law, it is a suggestion. You are the authority that decides whether it stands or falls. Marcus Aurelius put it like this: the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. He wasn't saying you're helpless, he was warning you. If you let any thought walk in unchallenged, it will paint your identity. Modern psychology backs this up. Your brain throws out automatic thoughts based on old experiences, old wounds, old conditioning. Someone rejected you years ago, so now your mind automatically predicts rejection again. Someone shamed you for speaking up, so now your mind tells you, stay quiet, stay safe. But here's the shift. You are not those automatic thoughts. You are the one who can look at them and say, no, not this time. Next time the thought appears, I'm not enough. Pause. Say to yourself, that is a thought, not truth. Breathe. Let it float past like a cloud in the sky. You don't have to fight it. You just don't have to obey it. Identity statement. I am the authority in my own mind. The second brutal Stoic law is the law of neutral events. You've been trained to believe that events are automatically good or bad. She left? Bad. They didn't respond? Bad. You lost your job? Bad. But Stoicism says something different. Events are neutral. It's your judgment that makes them torture or training. Marcus Aurelius again. If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it. In simple terms, it's not the breakup. It's the story that you'll never find love again. It's not the silence. It's the story that you're invisible. It's not the criticism. It's the story that you're worthless. Imagine this. Two men get rejected on the same day. One says, of course, I'm unlovable. This always happens to me. He collapses into negative thinking, scrolling, numbing, disappearing from his own life. The other says, this hurts, but this is feedback. This is redirection. This is life showing me where I still need to grow. Same event, different judgment. One mind breaks, the other mind hardens into clarity. You don't have to pretend pain feels good. That's not Stoicism. You simply refuse to let an event define your worth or your future. Identity statement. Nothing that happens to me has the power to define me. The third brutal Stoic law is the law of voluntary suffering. Seneca said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Think about how much of your life you've spent in scenarios that never actually happened. You imagine them cheating. You imagine your boss firing you. You imagine people laughing at you behind your back. Your heart rate increases. Your stomach twists. Your body reacts as if it's real. But it's not. You're torturing yourself with mental movies you wrote, directed, and paid for with your peace. This is voluntary suffering. Pain you choose because you never learned to interrupt the story. Negative thinking loves what if spirals. What if she leaves? What if I fail? What if they all think I'm a loser? A Stoic mind flips the question. What if I'm stronger than I think? What if this works out better than I imagine? What if this pain becomes the reason I grow? You don't ignore possible problems. You prepare for them logically. Then you refuse to relive them 1,000 times before they even arrive. Next time you feel your mind spiraling into worst-case scenarios, notice it and say, I will not suffer something that isn't even real yet. Then bring your attention back to what you can actually do right now. Send the email, speak honestly, rest, train, improve. Identity statement. I refuse to suffer in advance. You've just seen 3 of the 7 laws: inner authority, neutral events, voluntary suffering. Already you can feel a shift. Your thoughts are not kings, events are not destiny, and imagined pain is not mandatory. In the next part, we'll go even deeper into the final laws that complete this mental rewiring. We'll talk about discipline, perspective, and the kind of quiet strength that makes you unshakable in a chaotic world. You've already started to feel it. When you see your thoughts as suggestions, not commands. When you see events as neutral. When you stop suffering in advance. Something loosens. The storm in your head is still there. But for the first time, you're not fully inside it. You're watching it. Now we go deeper, because there are 4 more laws that complete this rewiring. 4 more shifts that take you from overthinker to quietly unshakable. The 4th brutal Stoic law is the law of the present moment. Your mind loves to drag you into 2 places where you have 0 power, the past and the future. You replay every wrong word you said. You pre-live every disaster that might come. Meanwhile, the only place you can actually act is abandoned, the present. Marcus Aurelius said, "Confine yourself to the present, not because the past doesn't matter or the future doesn't exist, but because right now is the only battlefield you can fight on." When you are overwhelmed by negative thinking, check this. Where is your mind? Is it replaying the breakup from 2 years ago? Is it rehearsing a failure that hasn't happened yet? Bring it back. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your breath move in and out. Ask, what is actually happening right now? Most of the time, right now is simple. You're sitting, you're working, you're driving, you're just here. The drama is in your head, not in the room. Practice this throughout your day. When your mind spirals, quietly tell yourself, return to now. Then do the next small, useful action in front of you. Identity statement. I live and act in the present, not in my fears. The 5th brutal Stoic law is the law of discipline over mood. You've been taught to worship how you feel. If you don't feel like it, you stop. If you feel anxious, you retreat. If you feel low, you disappear into your phone. But a Stoic mind does not wait for perfect feelings. It acts from values. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." In modern language, decide the kind of man you are. Then move like him, whether you feel like it or not. You don't wait to feel confident before you speak. You speak even with shaky hands. You don't wait to feel motivated before you train. You train even when your body says, stay in bed. You don't wait to feel calm before you set a boundary. You set it even with a racing heart. Slowly, your brain learns a new pattern. I can act without permission from my mood. Negative thinking loses power when your actions no longer obey it. Identity statement. My discipline leads, my mood follows. The 6th brutal Stoic law is the law of mental diet. If your body would get sick from junk food, what do you think happens to your mind with junk input? Constant drama on social media, endless comparison, people who complain, gossip, and stir chaos, content that glorifies outrage, victimhood, and helplessness. And then you wonder why your thinking is dark, fearful, and chaotic. Seneca wrote, "We must rub off upon one another, taking turns giving and receiving help. Who and what you expose your mind to is not neutral. It shapes your inner world. If you feed your mind noise, your thoughts will sound like noise. If you feed your mind wisdom, your thoughts will slowly become wiser. This doesn't mean hiding from reality. It means taking responsibility for your mental environment. Unfollow people who trigger constant insecurity. Limit content that leaves you angry and empty. Spend more time with books, ideas, and people that leave you clearer, calmer, stronger. Identity statement. I protect my mind by choosing what I feed it. The seventh brutal Stoic law is the law of the inner witness. Right now, when a negative thought appears, you merge with it. I'm a failure. You don't think, this is a thought. You think, this is me. Stoicism invites you to create distance, to become the watcher of your own mind. Marcus Aurelius constantly wrote to himself as if he were two people, the one who feels and the one who guides. That's the inner witness. Next time your mind says, nobody respects you, imagine stepping one small step back. Notice the thought like text appearing on a screen. Say, I notice I'm having the thought that nobody respects me. It sounds small. It's not. You've just shifted from being inside the story to watching it. From there, you can question it. Is it absolutely true? Is there evidence against it? Or is this just an old wound talking? The witness doesn't fight, it observes. And in that observation, negative thinking loses its grip. Identity statement. I am the calm observer of my thoughts, not their victim. Now, you've seen all 7 laws. You've moved from automatic, chaotic thinking to a blueprint for a disciplined, stoic mind. In the next part, we're going to tie these laws together into something bigger. Not just a bunch of ideas, but a new identity. You'll see how a man who lives by these laws walks differently through storms, through rejection, through disrespect, and through his own thoughts. Look at where you've come from. You started as the man trapped in his own head. Thoughts felt like orders. Feelings felt like facts. Every rejection, every silence, every disrespect became a personal sentence handed down by life. Now, piece by piece, that version of you is cracking. You've seen that thoughts are suggestions, events are neutral. Most of your suffering was imagination. You've returned to the present, put discipline above mood, cleaned up your mental diet, and stepped into the role of the inner witness. This is more than a mindset shift. This is an identity shift. You're not just learning Stoic ideas. You're becoming a Stoic mind. Seneca said, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. At first glance, that sounds harsh. Why would adversity be something you're almost grateful for? Because now you see the battlefield clearly. The breakup isn't just heartbreak. It's training in the law of neutral events. You feel the pain, but you refuse the story that you're unworthy. The disrespect isn't just humiliation. It's a chance to practice inner authority. Their words enter your ears, but they don't get to define your soul. The anxiety isn't just torment. It's your opportunity to practice the inner witness. You watch the wave rise, you breathe, and instead of drowning, you let it pass. Adversity becomes the arena where your philosophy steps out of theory and into reality. This is the bigger Stoic worldview. Life will send storms, people will leave, plans will fail. Your mind will still produce dark, fearful, insecure thoughts, but you are no longer the helpless passenger. You are the one at the helm. Imagine your mind as a battlefield. For years, your negative thinking has been the loudest army. What if she leaves? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? You believed those voices and surrendered without a fight. Now these 7 laws are your shield and sword. Inner authority stands at the front lines, reminding you, I decide what I believe. Neutral events lifts your eyes. This is painful, but it is not the end. Voluntary suffering clears the fog. I will not bleed for scenarios that don't exist. The present moment grounds your feet. Right now is all I need to handle. Discipline over mood makes you move anyway. Mental diet shapes the terrain around you. The inner witness watches every move with calm, adjusting, learning, refining. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You've heard that before. But now, it's no longer just a nice quote. It's a description of who you are becoming. A man whose strength doesn't come from controlling others, but from no longer being controlled by his own thoughts. Think about what changes when this identity sinks in. The next time someone ghosts you, you don't chase them into emotional chaos. You feel the sting, acknowledge the story your mind is trying to write, and then you choose a different one. The next time you feel that urge to scroll away your anxiety, you pause. You return to now. You let the feeling exist without running. You act from discipline, not impulse. The next time your mind starts whispering the old lies, you don't argue with it endlessly. You watch, you choose, you act. This is what dangerous calm really is. Not numbness, not pretending nothing hurts, but a deep, steady confidence that says, I can handle my own mind, therefore, I can handle my life. If this is starting to feel like the man you want to be, lock it in. Drop this in the comments as a declaration of identity. I am becoming a calm, unshakable mind. In the final part, we're going to pull everything together. You'll get clear marching orders, how to live these laws daily, how to respond when you slip, and how to keep walking this path of stoic clarity when the world around you stays chaotic. Take a breath. Look at the path you've just walked. You started as the man who couldn't escape his own head, haunted by old conversations, unanswered messages, imagined disasters. A prisoner of thoughts he never chose, stories he never questioned. Now you stand somewhere different. Not perfect, not finished, but clearer, calmer, more aware of the quiet power you've always had but never fully used. You've seen the 7 brutal Stoic laws that begin to kill negative thinking at the root. You've seen that your thoughts are suggestions, not commands. That events are neutral until your judgment paints them. That most of your pain was voluntary, lived in imagination. That your power exists only in the present moment. That discipline must lead where your mood refuses to go. That your mental diet shapes your inner world. And that there is a part of you that can always watch, always choose, always stay calm. Now it's time to turn all of this into marching orders. From today forward, your life becomes practice, not perfection. Practice. When a negative thought appears, don't ask, why am I like this? Ask, what law applies here? When your mind says, I'm not enough, you remember inner authority. You pause and say, that is a thought, not truth. I decide. When something painful happens, you remember neutral events. You allow yourself to feel it, but you ask, what else could this mean? How could this be training? Not a sentence. When you catch yourself spiraling into what if, you remember voluntary suffering. You stop bleeding for futures that don't exist. You prepare where needed, then return to now. When you feel overwhelmed, you remember the present moment. You bring your awareness back to your breath, your body, the room. You ask, what is the next small action I can take? When your mood is low, you remember discipline over mood. You move your body. You do the work. You act like the man you've decided to be, not the one your feelings are trying to drag you back into. When you scroll, watch, and listen, you remember mental diet. You choose what enters your mind. You unfollow chaos and feed yourself clarity, strength, wisdom. And through all of it, you practice the inner witness. You watch your thoughts rise and fall. You stop confusing every mental noise with your identity. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You used to think freedom meant doing whatever you feel like. Now you see the truth. Freedom is the ability to choose your response, even when your mind is loud, even when your emotions are intense. Freedom is being able to say, "This thought is not me. This story is not final. I choose a different way." You will slip. Some nights the old spiral will pull you in. Some mornings you'll wake up heavy and doubt everything. That doesn't mean you've failed. It means you are human. The difference now is this. You know the path back. You know how to step out of the storm and into clarity. You know how to observe, reframe, and act with discipline instead of surrendering to every fearful impulse. From here, your job is simple, not easy. Practice these laws daily. When you forget, gently return. When you fall, stand back up a little faster, a little calmer, a little wiser. If this spoke to something deep in you, don't let it fade as soon as the video ends. Like, share this with someone who lives in their own mental storm, and subscribe so you stay connected to a community that's building calm, disciplined minds in a chaotic world. And lock this in with one last affirmation in the comments, not as a wish, but as a decision. I am rewiring my mind with stoic discipline and calm. Remember this, life will not always be gentle. People will not always be fair. Your mind will not always be quiet. But you are no longer just a man lost in his thoughts. You are the one who walks through the storm with a steady step, a clear gaze, and a mind that knows its own power. That is the dangerous calm of a stoic mind, and from today forward, that is the path you walk.